So let me tell you about the time my caseload was completely full, referrals were consistently coming in, I was always busy, but I felt totally stuck. It almost felt like I was chained down to the chair and just couldn't get up. All of my working hours during the day were devoted to providing clinical care, one-on-one sessions. And this was a problem, a really big problem. I wanted to expand to a group practice, hire other people, pursue other ideas as well, diversify income streams, but I could not do it because I was totally stuck to the chair for every hour of the day. Not to mention all the income in the business was tied to me sitting in this chair directly to one-on-one sessions. Not only does this create a ceiling for income, but it also doesn't allow you to take vacations very easily or take time off if you need to do something. Now, this setup does not work for private practice very well, let alone any business. But I was eventually able to get unstuck, and I want to tell you how. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love doing clinical care, but the truth is, if you want to grow any business or pursue any ideas, you need time to work on those particular ideas. And the problem is that when you have clinical sessions all day long, you have no time to pursue any other ideas, and the business just can't grow or expand. You get stuck. And you might have many ideas. Maybe you want to start a group practice and hire people, or maybe you want to pursue other income streams so that your income isn't directly related to one-on-one sessions. And whatever the case may be, you need time to work on those ideas. Okay, now please forgive me, I'm not a great drawer, but let's say that this is a typical day. We start at 9 a.m. and we end around 5 p.m., give or take a half an hour. Now I have a young family, so it's important for me to have reasonable hours, okay? Now, the first hour of the day, right here, we would just do emails and kind of get prepped for the sessions that were coming in, right? So that was the first hour, and that was until 10. And then from there, we would do about 3 hours. So from about 10 to 1 p.m., this would all be just clinical sessions, okay? Now, if you've ever done clinical sessions before, you really can't do that many in a row without getting really tired. So in order to serve my clients the best, we would take about an hour break right here, and we would do lunch and or catch up, whatever you need to do, all right? But mostly a break there from 1 until 2 p.m. And then this last 3-hour stretch from 2 to 5, we're gonna do clinical sessions again, 3 more, okay? And then after that, I would say, give or take, right? We end around 5, but maybe around 5:15 or so, or maybe even 5:30, we're gonna close out with more emails and some admin to get ready for the next day. And you can see here that this day is totally packed. And so yeah, this was the main reason why I was stuck, not just in this chair, but I couldn't pursue the ideas that I had in my business. So it's easy for me to stand here at this vantage point and forget exactly how I got here or the first step I took, but I want to share with you the very first step I took in order to get to where I am now. Now, one of the problems that people encounter is that they have so many ideas, their brain is scattered, they don't know which one to pursue, and when they have a free moment, they don't really know which idea to try. And so what we have to do is pick one idea, lock onto it, and pursue that. And what we have to do is set aside the other ideas temporarily or for a season. Now, there's a train passing. And so the way I made this decision was to pick the lowest hanging fruit, the one that was the easiest to start. And so I had supervisory experience in the agency setting. I was somewhat familiar with admin in a clinical practice. I had a successful solo practice. I had referrals coming in, all that was good. So it made sense to pursue a group practice. This seemed like the lowest hanging fruit. And so that meant that whatever time I carved out, I would spend pursuing the group practice. My other ideas were fine and exciting, but those needed to be set aside at least for a season so I could pursue this one. Now I was laser focused. Whenever I had a spare moment, a spare hour, I would pursue the group practice. So now that I had the idea locked in, I needed to find time to actually work on that idea. But the problem was I had no time. The best solution I could come up with was to work on it late at night, kind of like this, after my son had gone down to sleep. Now, it was not ideal, but it was the only time I could find to begin working on this. The very first thing I started to do was research, and a lot of research. I looked up everything I possibly could about starting a group practice. I even booked calls with accountants and lawyers to make sure all my bases were covered and I was going in the right direction. And slowly and surely over time, the research turned into tasks that would set me up to start the group practice. For example, I had to get payroll software. I had to get new types of insurance for hiring folks. I needed to figure out how to write job descriptions, all these things that I had to do. So what I started to do is create an organized task manager of everything I needed to do. And this really helped me because if I had a free hour during lunch or I had a free couple of minutes, I could go into the task manager, find something that I could work on and execute that during that period of time. So the task manager helped me stay organized and to use that time well. Otherwise, I'd have a free hour and fumbling around, not sure what to do. So the task manager was key. And slowly and surely over time, tasks started to get checked off the list. I got payroll software. I got the right insurance set up. I was writing job descriptions. I was booking interviews and so on and so forth. So finally, little by little, task by task, the group practice was starting to become a reality. So eventually I hired 2 part-time therapists, and this was really exciting and a real big milestone, but at the same time, I was still seeing my full caseload of clients. And although it's very tempting to reduce your caseload as soon as you hire people, it just doesn't make sense financially, because what happens is you actually have extra costs. The cost of hiring, that costs time, new softwares that you have to take on, so payroll software and other expenses as well, right? And so it costs money to actually onboard new people, and that money isn't recouped until they actually start seeing clients. And when you first hire people, they're not gonna get clients right off the bat, especially this situation. These were my very first hires. So I had a lot of learning to do. And although I mentioned earlier that I did my best not to work late at night or early in the morning or just all day long, this was a season where I had to do some of that. I kind of see this as the calm before the storm. This was the only way for me to onboard people and to get people started in the practice to take this step without reducing my own caseload, which didn't make sense financially. So my main responsibilities right after hiring these folks was to onboard them, so teach them all the admin tasks, how to get into our EHR, how to take notes. I mean, all those things that I've been doing for a while, but now I had to teach someone else how to do. That in and of itself was a bit of a challenge. So that was one component. And the other component was starting to provide consistent supervision for them as well. So the way I made time for this was during my lunch breaks, during cancellations, whenever that would happen, or any free moment I had, I would work on these types of things. I would even work late at night occasionally, doing supervisions at 9 or 10 p.m. after putting my young child to bed. And then the other main task that I had to work on was marketing. So now that I have these therapists, how do I begin to fill them up? And then this task also consumed a lot of that time as well. And so there was one main goal I was working towards immediately after hiring these 2 therapists in the early stages of my practice. And that was for them to have enough clients in their caseload to make sense for me to reduce my caseload by 1 hour at a time. And this was just simple math. And if you're in this stage now, I would encourage you to do the simple math. How much do you make per session yourself? How many clients would someone need to see in order for you to make that amount, including all the expenses you might have, including payroll or other softwares or anything like that? And that's the number you want to begin to think about, because that's what's going to help you free up your time to work on the business. And one pitfall I see people falling into is thinking way too big picture. They might think about how many clinicians they might need to significantly reduce their caseload or something like that. And although these are fine numbers to have in your mind, it can be overwhelming in the beginning. Boy, it's kind of windy out here. Okay, really windy. Oh my gosh. It is very windy. Hopefully this can pick up the sound decently. All right, let's just give this a try. So the real trick here was to start slow. I started with the 2 therapists, trying to figure out how to free up 1 hour of my time, and eventually I was able to get to 3 therapists, then 4, then 5, and 6, and so on and so forth. And it started with just 2, trying to free up 1 hour. Start there, it's much more manageable. It also required that season of working extra hard. Although that's not what everyone wants to hear, it was required for me at that time. So these are the simple things I want to encourage you to do. Number 1, pick that one idea that you think could work, put everything else aside for a season, and let's lock in on that one and go for it. Number 2, start with the first steps. So list out what are the first steps you need to take. Is it research? Is it calling an attorney? Is it calling an accountant? Just start with the first few steps, build from there. And then you'll be able to take real steps, whether that's hiring someone or pursuing this other idea. You can do it. I promise you, if you feel stuck, you can get unstuck. So let's start there. I hope this video is helpful for you. I hope you learned something. I just want to share my experience with you because I know that other people go through these same things. We feel stuck, we're not sure what to do, we get a little hopeless, and we just kind of give up and just go through every day, same thing. I don't want that for you. Let's go for it. I know you can do it. I would love to know how you're doing it, what your thoughts are. Put them down below in the comments. Other than that, hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you in the next video.